Hey everyone, Decent Eddie here. It's week 4 and we're rolling. After that crazy week 3, I'm excited to see what comes next. Hey, do me a favor, friends. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, please. That would be awesome. Also, don't forget, even if I've been doing this for 20-ish years and I'm decent at it, be smart with your money if you're going to be stupid with your money by betting, all right? Don't take what I say or what anyone else doing this says on faith alone. Do a little bit of research on your own in addition to checking with experts. All right, let's get into it. We've got a lot to do. First up, it's Steelers versus Vikings in Dublin. The Vikings, they're 2.5-point favorites last I looked. That market number barely favors the Vikings. They're giving them a 59% win probability. This is a danger pick favoring the Vikings, so I consider this a no play on the money line. Minnesota just secured a dominant 48-10 win, capitalizing on 5 turnovers. They were really lucky, but that was against a depleted Bengals team. The Steelers are 2-1 despite ranking near the bottom in most of my offensive metrics. Mike Tomlin's strong against the spread record as an underdog is noteworthy here, and the Vikings' recent win was heavily reliant on defense and turnovers, which are unpredictable. Can't count on that here. The Steelers' defense should keep it close against the Vikings, and they're kind of struggling on offense. So I'm taking the points. Steelers, 2.5 against the spread. For the over-under at 40.5 points, I think it's safer to go with the under given both teams' offenses being kind of weak. This is a no play on the money line. We've got the 3-0 Eagles heading down to Tampa to face the 3-0 Buccaneers. That's going to be a heck of a game. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites right now on the road. The money line is a tough one. The Eagles have a 66% market win probability. Our model flags this as a decent Eddie suboptimal pick for the Eagles with a differential of only 5 points between these two. All right. That's just not a good value. The spread is kind of where the action is, I think. And I'm going to take the dog here on this one. The Buccaneers have a massive injury hit with wide receiver Mike Evans out with a hamstring. But the good news is there's a strong chance a couple players are set to return for him. Double check that injury report right before the kickoff. All right, be smart, guys. The Eagles, despite their 3-0 record, kind of look vulnerable. Plus, the Bucs defense is effective against the run, which is kind of the Eagles' bread and butter. So I'm going to take the points with home field momentum. Buccaneers at 3.5 against the spread. The over-under is 44.5 points, and the recent trends kind of point towards the under. But don't forget, I recommend caution on the money line because of the suboptimal decent Eddie number favoring the Eagles. All right, it's not a sure thing. Nothing ever is, but you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. Saints versus Bills. The Bills earn a decent Eddie confident money line pick with a differential of 30.545. That's about as big as the number can get. And 93% market win probability. While it's the safest bet of the week, there's minimal value, so I would consider the money line parlay on this one if you're going to use it. The spread is where things kind of get interesting. The Bills, last I saw, 15.5-point favorites. That's gigantic. The Saints are 0-3 against the spread. The Bills are 2-1 against the spread. Laying this many points is risky, especially with potential garbage time going to be in play here. However, Josh Allen is performing exceptionally well against a struggling Saints defense here. If you choose to play it, consider the Bills at 15.5 against the spread, but you be warned, that's a big number. The over-under is set at 48.5 points. The over is hit in 4 of Buffalo's last 5 games, but it's uncertain if the Saints can really contribute, so that's a cautious lean towards the over. The money line is set in stone on the Bills. Even though there is not a sure thing, this is kind of close to, it's as close to a sure thing as you're going to get, but your ROI is going to be tiny on this, all right? Lions versus Browns. Lions get a decent Eddie confident money line pick with a really strong 18.272 differential on the money line. The market win probability for the Lions is 83%. Not as bad a value as the Bills, but still not amazing. A win is a win, so pair it up with something if you want to, maybe. That's up to you guys. The against the spread pick is trickier. The Lions are 9.5-point favorites, and while the Lions are an against the spread machine, the Browns are coming off an upset win where they kind of blew things up. Right? That game, it blew me up, that's for sure. Their defensive metrics are really, really hot in my data set. Much to the surprise of my friends in Michigan, there is a lot of disagreement in the betting world on the 9.5-point figure. I'm cautiously leaning on the Browns at 9.5. The over-under is set at 44.5. The numbers should be approached with caution there, too. The Browns' gargantuan defense and the Lions' short rest spot kind of lean towards the under, honestly. However, Detroit's offense is second in the NFL, and the over has hit in 2 of the last 3 Lions games. So I don't know, flip a coin, I guess. I hate saying that, but this one is tricky. This is a tricky one. But again, money line, it is the Lions, but there's not a lot of value there. Texans versus Titans. The Texans are a decent Eddie suboptimal money line pick with a 6.727 differential. That signals caution on the money line towards the Texans. The Texans are 7.5 point favorites with an implied win probability of 77%. Personally, I think the market is overvaluing the Texans. Turning the spread, we're looking at Texans. They're 0-3 against the spread. They're the lowest scoring team in the NFL and are asked to win by over a touchdown. I mean, seriously, really? Given the Texans' struggles and the Titans' horrendous 3-17 record against the spread with Callahan, this line is not a good value for the favorite. I am actually leaning towards the Titans at 7.5 for the value, but you might think about avoiding the spread altogether. The over-under is set at 38.5 points. Both offenses, honestly, are just gross, and the Texans are 0-3 to the under. The game is likely to be ugly and low scoring, so the model suggests leaning towards the under on this game. But don't forget, this is a suboptimal pick for the Texans on the money line. Titans against the spread. All right, okay, moving on here. Chargers head to the opposite side of the country versus the Giants. This is a decent Eddie confident money line pick for the Chargers with a really strong 24.137 differential. Chargers are 6.5 point favorites with a market win probability for the Chargers of 74%. All right, let's take a look at this against the spread thing. I mean, the Chargers, they've done pretty well against the spread. The Giants, though, they're in desperation mode, and they're benching Russell Wilson for rookie Jackson Dart. That might not work. It might work. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Dart's first start is against a Chargers defense that ranks pretty dang high in my defensive metrics on my data set. That's a brutal matchup for a rookie quarterback. I'm leaning on the Chargers 6.5 against the spread. The over-under is set at 44.5. The Chargers offense averages about 23.5 points per game, I think. The Giants offense is on the weaker side. We got a new quarterback in, so the lean here is to the under, 44.5. You've got the rookie QB factor. The Giants' run defense makes this number, I don't know if the Chargers can get all the way to 44.5 on their own, honestly. So that is an under pick. And again, Chargers on the money line for that one. Commanders versus Falcons. This is a decent Eddie confident pick on the money line for the Commanders. They got a differential of 13.363, a little bit lower than the others, but it's still in that confident zone that I've got in my data set. The market has given the Commanders a 54% win probability. So the market and I, maybe we're not in agreement. They're not as confident as I am. The Commanders are 1.5 point favorites. Washington has been decent. The Falcons are 1-2 against the spread, 0-1 at home. The betting world is kind of split on this one too. Frankly, I would consider the spread a no play in this matchup. The over-under at 45.5 is a little tricky too. The total has gone under in 2 of the Commanders' 3 games and in all 3 of the Falcons games. So we're kind of looking at the under. Both teams' averages combined are kind of low, making the 45.5 seem high. So I would look at the under 45.5 in this one and take the Commanders on the money line. All right, guys. Panthers versus Patriots. This is a danger pick for the Patriots on the money line with a microscopic 0.273 differential by my data, but the market has the Patriots as a 71% win probability. They are way more confident than I am. The small differential on my data means I have next to no confidence here. New England is a 5.5 point favorite. The over-under is 43.5 points. Carolina might be kind of hot right now, coming off a 30-0 shutout. The Patriots are 1-2 against the spread, and 0-2 at home against the spread. They're struggling with turnovers. This 5.5 point spread is a value challenge, I think. I lean towards the Panthers here against the spread at 5.5 points. The over-under, 43.5. Given both teams' tendencies, the under is kind of highlighted, I think. This is a no play on the money line here for me, friends. Colts, they're heading west to play the Rams. This is a danger pick for the Rams on the money line with a 2.364 differential by my data. The market has the Rams at a 64% win probability, which means they're a little bit more confident in LA than my data is. The Rams are 3.5 point favorites. The over-under is 49.5 points. The Colts are an impressive 3-0, kind of a surprising 3-0, and are 3-0 against the spread, thanks to, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, that offense, right? The Rams are sitting at 2-1 against the spread and are at home. looking to bounce back after blowing a lead last week. This is shaping up to be a bit of a value challenge too, but I lean towards the Colts at 3.5 here. The over-under is set at 49.5. The historical and recent trends lean towards the over, making the over 49.5 a bit more attractive to me. This is a no play on the money line for me. It's dangerous, friends. My data says it's too close to call. Keep it safe, all right? Jaguars versus the 49ers. This is a decent netty suboptimal pick, favoring the 49ers with an 8.364 differential. Now, just so you know, my suboptimal picks so far this year are only hitting at 60%, all right? That's why they're suboptimal. I mean, it's maybe, but not super confident, right? That's what that means. The 49ers are 3.5-point favorites, holding a market win probability of around 64%. The over-under is 46.5 points. This is a crucial test for Trevor Lawrence and the 2-1 Jaguars against an undefeated 49ers. Jacksonville boasts an impressive turnover number and a strong running game, likely looking to exploit a banged-up San Francisco team that just lost Nick Bosa. While the 49ers defense has performed well, their wins have been narrow. The over-under is set at 46.5 points, with the 49ers games kind of trending to be more low-scoring. The over-under is weird here, given some injuries, though. I'd say that the over-under is a no play. I'm taking the Jaguars at 3.5 as my preferred play. Rams get my suboptimal moneyline pick, but I'd exercise caution, and I'd almost consider it a no play unless you just want some added excitement in your day. Ravens versus Chiefs. That's next. Oh, yummy. By the way, Arrowhead has great parking, if you didn't know already, and Kansas City's Minsky's Pizza is terrific. I recommend it. Anyway, this is a danger pick, barely favoring the Ravens with a .182 differential. Tiny between these two teams. My data says they are even Steven. The market has Baltimore at 2.5-point favorites with an implied win probability of around 58-59%. So the market and I are kind of in alignment. Looking at the over-under of 48.5 points, the Ravens games are 3-0 to the over, while Chiefs have mostly hit the under. So I honestly think this game could go to the under, to be real with you. I think you can take the Ravens at 2.5 against the spread too. I would stay away from the money line here. There's no clear winner by my data, and I like to stay safe with my money line picks. It's a no play. Bears travel to face the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a danger pick for the Bears with a 3.909 differential. The market favors the Raiders slightly with a win probability of just 52%. The Raiders are 1.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 47.5 points. And I think the line the against the spread flipped in the last 24 hours. So, the market's kind of lost on this one. Caleb Williams of Chicago just had a great 4-touchdown game, and the Raiders' weak pass defense could give him opportunities. Luck hasn't been as good for the Raiders. Las Vegas' offense and Geno Smith, they've kind of struggled, right? While the spread is close, I believe the Bears can cover the 1.5 points. The total of 47.5 points isn't a good value under these particular circumstances, but consider betting the under if you want. This is a no play on the money line for me, guys. The Packers travel to face the Cowboys. This is a decent, Eddie confident pick for the money line with a 19.455 differential favoring Green Bay and a 77% market win probability. The Packers are 6.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 47.5 points. Key to this matchup is the return of Micah Parsons against a hobbled Cowboys team. Green Bay's defense ranks highly in various metrics on my data set, while Jordan Love looks to bounce back after last week's embarrassing loss against the Browns. Given the favorable differential and matchup, I strongly recommend the Packers on the money line and believe they'll cover that 6.5-point spread. As for the total, with the Cowboys likely struggling to score, consider betting the under 47.5, as historical trends suggest this matchup leans towards lower scores. Take the Packers on the money line. Jets versus Dolphins. This is a danger pick for the Jets with a 1.909 differential between these two teams. It's close. The market favors the Dolphins just barely with a 60% win probability, and they are 2.5-point favorites right now with the over-under at 44.5 points. One of these 0-3 teams will secure their first win in Miami, where the Dolphins have a strong home record against the Jets. Despite flashes of potential, Tua's turnover issues have hurt the Dolphins mightily. All right, the Jets are struggling too, with uncertainty around their quarterback and some other challenges as well. Given the 1.909 differential, this is a no play on the money line for me on this game. It's Jets at 2.5 against the spread against Miami. For the total, 44.5. I'd consider avoiding it or looking for an alternate line. Two bad teams, guys, I'm just not a buyer on that. Bengals versus Broncos. This is a danger pick for the Broncos on the money line with a 3-point differential favoring Denver, which is a 7.5-point favorite right now, and they've got an 80% market win probability. The over-under is set at 43.5 points. My data is skewed a bit due to Burrow's absence. Most of my Bengals data includes him, and since he's such a major part of that team, I really do feel that my data and my data set is compromised in this particular instant. His replacement, Jake Browning, struggled significantly last week. He threw 5 interceptions. He can't keep doing that. The Bengals at 2-1 have been outscored 91-58 this season, which is wild. Meanwhile, the Broncos are looking to rebound after 2 close losses. While the betting world is divided, I kind of lean towards the Broncos taking advantage of Cincinnati's weak defense. However, 7.5 points is a hefty spread. That's a big lift, right? That's kind of making it a no play for me, honestly, guys. I would really be careful. All right, I mean, you do what you want. I like safety. I do suggest betting the under 43.5 points, but you can consider the Broncos on the money line as a less risky option than my data indicates, okay? And that's it, guys. Hey, here's my decent, Eddie, confident money line picks for the week. A couple of them you'll probably want to pair up with something else just to kind of gain some value. So far, my decent, Eddie, confident money line picks this season, we're at 91%. As for parlays, I will always endorse a 3-leg parlay with odds between -400 and -450, because if you do that, your probability to win is going to stay at or above 50%. So let's take a look at a couple, all right? If you put Jared Goff passing 175 plus yards, Quentin Johnson getting 30 plus yards receiving, and Jalen Hurts getting 25 plus yards rushing, your win probability in that 3-leg parlay by the market data is about 52%. Or if you stick Calvin Ridley getting 25 or more yards receiving, Justin Herbert getting 200 plus yards passing, and if he plays, he was limited in practice on Thursday, Hubbard to get more than 35 yards rushing, that parlay has a win probability of 52%. Check on Hubbard's injury report on the day of the game. You got to do it. All right, be smart. I'll always recommend a 3-leg parlay, but never anything more than that, all right, due to the risks of combined probabilities. And remember, don't spend more than 10% of your bankroll in total across all your wagers in a day. Never chase losses. And if you need help with a gambling problem, check out my channel's description. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hey, if you found this helpful at all, please hit like, hit subscribe, tap the bell, get my picks, and do some research on the day of the games, and you'll be just fine, all right? Okay? Follow me, Decent Eddie Picks, on Instagram, Facebook, X, spelled Decent Eddie Picks with P-I-X at the end. You can see me on TikTok. I'll post updated team grades there if I ever decide to do them. Last-minute thoughts, if I have them. End-game thoughts when I have them. Let's see what happens, though. This is Decent Eddie signing off. Have an awesome day.